Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Church's Hollywood Moments with me, Thomas J. Churchill, a.k.a. Church. And I want to say to you, I'm so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Behind the scenes here, I'm on stage 2 at Sunset Las Palmas Studios. This stage is really, really important for television history of sitcoms. This is the original spot where the original I Love Lucy stages were. The I Love Lucy show ran, the first 2 years was done on this particular stage. It's amazing that every day I come to work and I am literally, my office is 80 feet away from this stage. It's amazing. And let me see if you can see it. I'm going to flip you guys around. Action! So then you go, this is all rebuilt since then. This is probably where the bleachers used to be. And here's the entire stage. The elephant doors. They call them elephant doors because you get trucks. You can get a truck of gear in and out of it. There's another picture there. And then another little studio section back here, another stage, which was part of the Lucy show. Now, back in the day, this wall right here used to have a door that Lucy used to come, the audience members would come in and out of here and then walk the line and go into their bleachers and wait for the show to start, which would be all right here. All the sets would be built here. Pretty iconic, pretty amazing. So it's just pure history right here. Sitcom finest. And then you have, here's what I was saying about a multi-camera shoot right here. You got Ricky, Lucy and Ricky walking out, Desi, and there's a cameraman behind the scenes. There's another camera guy behind the scenes walking into their living room, which would have been here. It's really cool. Another cool thing with this stage, as the audience would build up and sit up or in the bleachers, Lucy would come walking through this door. So this door was created for them to come from outside and just kind of get themselves together, because their dressing room literally is behind this wall. And I'm sure there was a curtain here, and they come walking out onto the stage and do their thing. It's pretty iconic. You got see how you have the set here, and then you can see the flat and the wood. And behind the scenes here would be the stage. And as you walk around, they have that all over the place here. Here is Ricky, yeah. Desi Arnaz in the middle with Lucy. So you got Ricky and Lucy. And then you got the Merches is sitting next to them. And this is everybody from behind the scenes sitting on, looks like the bleachers. which used to be back here in this area. There were bleachers. Here's another behind the scenes here of them getting everything ready for the show. The kitchen aspect. See the band in the background. This was one of the first sitcoms to utilize a multi-camera shoot. That's where it was invented, here. Here, if you on this show, which technically, if you think about it, was on this studio. And it's just amazing to look at all this behind the scenes that was captured here on the stage. A bunch of audience members coming in. It's pretty spectacular. Pretty amazing. Right outside the stage, you have this beautiful poster about them, and then the name of the stage itself is Lucy Stage, original home of I Love Lucy, 1951 to 1953. Another cool thing about this is this area right here. This is a commissary called Babalu Cafe from this gentleman right here, Mr. Rowland. He runs this Babalu Cafe, so if you're on the lot, this is the place to eat. And the greatest thing about this, Rowland himself is part of Lucy's history, because this room used to be the director's room and the editing room for Stage 2. Is formerly General Service Studios and actually Hollywood Center Studios. It's an American independent entertainment production lot located in the heart of Hollywood. It has stage facilities and provides filmmaking services to clients in film, television, and any sort of advertising industries. What's crazy about it is it was founded in 1919, which is probably one of the top 3 or 5 early Hollywood sound stages. It is one of the oldest production facilities in Hollywood and has been the host of many notable motion picture productions for over a century. It's crazy. Sunset Las Palmas Studios is one of the 3 production facilities which makes up Sunset Studios sound stages. The owner also owns Sunset Bronson Studios and Sunset Gower Studios. Back in 1919, John Jasper, a former associate of Charlie Chaplin, he built exterior sets in 3 production stages and several bungalows on this site. He named it Hollywood Studios. The first stages resembled hothouses with steel frames and cloth walls, glass roofs, and just giant windows. Outdoor sets included an Americana residential street, a massive New York street, and an elegant Spanish villa. Along the first tenants was comedian Harold Lloyd, who produced some of his most successful films on the lot. The lot changed ownerships many times over the years. During its early years, continued to evolve and grow. In 1926, Metropolitan Studios began construction of one of the industry's first sound stages. A few years later, Howard Hughes, he moved production to the lot and used the shot of World War I epic Hell's Angels. He literally shot that film on this studio lot. Known for its inventive and use of sound and for the screen debut of iconic blonde bombshell Jean Harlow. She was the first blonde bombshell in Hollywood. Dozens of films were produced on the lot during the 30s and 40s, including a whole stint of Mae West films, Klondike Annie, Go West, Young Man. There was 21 pictures of Hopalong Cassidy series. Bing Crosby shot films here. Pennies from Heaven was shot here. The Marx Brothers, A Night in Casablanca. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. shot here. Stan Laurel, Oliver Hardy, Fred Astaire, Cary Grant, Glenn Ford, Frederick March, Erich von Strohm were all among the stars who worked on the lot in the pre-World War II years. James Cagney and his brother owned the studio and made several films on the lot. And with the advent of television production, the lot changed dramatically again in the 50s. The lot made history when Stage 2 became home to the I Love Lucy show. The first prime-time comedy shot on film, produced before a live audience, originating from the West Coast. It's unheard of. From 1951 to 1953, it was the home of Desi Lou Productions, which owned Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz. The television version of actress Eva Arden's radio series Our Miss Brooks produced its first season on stage adjacent to the I Love Lucy show. Both stages were known as Desi Lou Playhouse, seeing that a common entrance had been created at the rear of each soundstage. After the second season of I Love Lucy, Desi Lou moved to what is now Red Studios, and Red Studios, the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Our Miss Brooks and other Desi Lou produced and filmed series moved with them. So the floodgates soon opened, and the lot became of the center of television's golden age. In the 50s, when it was General Services, was the home of George Burns, McCadden Corporation, The Burns and Allen Show, The Bob Cummings Show, Panic, and The People's Choice. Ozzie Nelson took Stage 5 productions and did The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Jack Chertok Productions did Private Secretary. It later hosted a number of classic CBS comedies, including Petticoat Junction, Green Acres, The Beverly Hillbillies, The Lone Ranger, Perry Mason, Mr. Ed, The Addams Family, and Get Smart were all produced on this lot. George Burns maintained his office on the lot until his death. What's crazy is in 1980, director Francis Ford Coppola purchased the lot, naming it Zoetrope Studios. He intended it to produce a slate of films. Among them was the ambitious movie musical called
All right, tomorrow we start on a new project.
The first of many to be made in Francis Coppola's brand new Zoetrope Studios in Hollywood.
As an outgrowth of Francis's experience in Apocalypse Now, where they went off to the jungle and in all that well-publicized stuff of the typhoons and actors getting ill and heart attacks and everything, he thought to himself that there must be an easier way to make films, and of course an easier way, to a large extent, was the way it used to be in this town in the 30s and 40s.
Hollywood General was the old name of a storied movie studio right in the heart of Hollywood.
At the time, there was not one shooting company here. It was totally vacant. And Francis walked from the front gate to the back gate. And when he got to the back gate, he turned around and he said, "I'll buy it."
He immediately moved Zoetrope, which was his studio up in San Francisco, he moved Zoetrope onto the lot of Hollywood General. And overnight, this became the kind of hip place in Hollywood. It was very funny.
My feeling is that my own work, certainly, and and some of the work of other people that I know, is moving more into the area where you can really control the elements of the drama. So that rather than go sit on some street corner for 5 hours waiting for the light to be right and having to go change all the parking meters because they're of the wrong era, that I want to operate in a kind of new kind of cinema that's a more theatrical cinema, and be able to control the elements of the film, both in image and sound. And by doing that, you need a theater, you need a factory, you need a stage, a dream factory, a place that you can really attempt to do production on a level that I think we were capable, had the energy and the imagination to do.
Well, let's go for a great one. What the hell?
So this is really two stories. One from the Heart was supposed to be a light, romantic comedy. Everything Apocalypse Now wasn't. Francis made it as an antidote to the heaviness of Apocalypse Now.
There's something to take them into the personal.
But it's also the story of a place, a real place, at 1040 North Las Palmas Avenue. And it was a place in the mind of Francis Coppola. He called this the War Room.
These are the ultimate sound stages, everything you could possibly conceive of in a modern soundstage. This and this are going to be our new recording stages. Isn't this a fun toy?
An underground soundstage, so that when the bomb comes, we can make movies.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world can go to blazes.
Isn't this great?
This is May West.
You must have a home. You must have a place that says 8 o'clock, we're all coming and we're going to do it. And after this picture, we're going to do another picture. And that you are developing new talent and you are making use of the old talent and that it is a community.
I was 22 years old when I was hired at Zoetrope. I was hired to answer the telephones in San Francisco. I make most of the major policy decisions for this place. Within a year of starting at Zoetrope, I was living in LA, I was working on the film, and was seeing all this incredible stuff going on.
Every minute is an experiment.
Once you take this turn, that's it. After I know, then you have to have a movement to cut in the movement. We do.
Francis's idea was to try on a small scale to bring back the old studio system, whereby you have actors under contract and certain craftspeople and artists of a variety of experiences, and we all get together in one confined area to make film.
I want to talk a little bit about this distinction is when you do something new or when you do something a little different from what you're used to, you never know exactly how to do it. You kind of discover it as you work on it, and it tells you how to do it. So you might say, well, God, I mean, I got this I got to get accomplished. I need to know how many inches that is. And to that, Vittorio always said to me, step by step. And I think that's the motto of this production of One from the Heart, is that we have to do it step by step.
Francis wanted to put together a repertory company of actors whom he had under contract to the studio and could use in any of his movies.
I think it's a great idea. The repertory company and the studio, and trying to make the studio like it was back in the 40s, and that we could make the movie business into a profitable thing again and make it fun. His ideas range from logical to illogical as usual. But this thing about the repertory company, I think it's great.
Francis could feel as if he had a troupe of people who he could work with, he could rehearse, he could use them at any time, they would be part of the family.
You know, he had an idea. He said, I'd like to have a 4-day week at the studio. And on the 5th day, I have all the people that I've hired come here with their families and work on the projects that they like.
If you can do as much in 4 days as you can do in 5, then you can have the 4-day week. I want the 4-day week.
He had an apprentice program for young kids. These young kids would walk around the lot and observe what was going on.
You really are the future. And in our relationship with Zoetrope, we're going to treat you as that.
What do you think of this? It's pretty radical. I think it's neat though, because I'm going to be a director when I grow up. Yeah, me too. I'm going to make studios called Angelo Studios. It sounds Italian, but it's Greek.
I think the apprentices were there during the prep period.
Your light has been extinguished, sort of. And when he comes along, you have to have like the new, maybe you could light the candle to show that, you know, that new hope is springing.
This is good.
Mm-hmm. He's saying simplify, that makes sense.
As a place to work and a place to be, Zoetrope traditionally had always been this amazing place because Francis always viewed his company as kind of like a big family, and there was a really great open communal atmosphere. When you were an employee at Zoetrope at that time, you felt as if the entire company was open to you. You could go hang out in the room when Francis and his people were discussing how they're going to be shooting scenes and what they were planning on doing.
That was a good take.
Francis build all these kind of things. They do one negative, just full it, that's it.
Nobody was told, no, you can't do this, you can't go there. It was basically, if you get your job done, you're free to partake in all the other stuff that's here.
No, he's right. The studio is an opportunity for me to be involved with these kinds of people, and that's nourishing to me. That makes me feel good. That makes me get ideas. So I think that approach to film is essential.
It really does suck.
You been reading that Hitchcock book again?
Yes.
Go to your room.
Drop it, honey. Shake it off. Because we're into another thing here.
Go to your room.
I make it green, yellow, and blue, and you may drink it from my shoe.
There was a party every Friday night during the shooting of One from the Heart. at about 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon, the limos would start lining up outside the studio. On whatever stage they were shooting that day, they would have a big party. It was absolutely a who's who of Hollywood.
Antonio,
man, I'm trying to wash my clothes.
He's going to ask him for some change for the laundromat.
I want to wash my hands.
It was an odd place. There was a lot of stuff going on.
I mean, it's a real luxury to be able to rehearse 3 months.
So as soon as I get up, we can have a confrontation there.
But it's good that
To work on any character that long before you actually go before the cameras.
Well, you're breaking the law.
Fuck the law, I'm pissed off.
Oh, no. You're going to put her down, I'm going to have to use this.
Don't use that, right?
Will you get the hell out of here?
For her to come out of the store to talk to you, she had to have liked you.
We rehearsed on top of a bar called the Kit Kat Club, across the street on Santa Monica Boulevard. We would take our lunch breaks and watch Dean Tavallera's remarkable sets being built. The scale of the film grew larger by the day.
Let's get some more men on this.
Francis always talked about it as being a contained movie and a small movie. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but at some point that idea had just gone out the window because he kept building more sets. Before too long, every stage on the lot had a set under construction. One from the Heart occupied pretty much every inch of Hollywood General Studios and an airport set built in a parking lot.
This is going to be a miniature billboard advertising the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas.
Photographic blow-ups for stage 3 and 8. They'll be colored in, and then we'll make, superimpose neon and lights over all this stuff. But it's going to cost a bundle. And anytime you're working with downtown Las Vegas, it's a hassle. All that neon.
It's a neon cake.
Wait a minute. I have to make a wish?
Yeah.
The truth is, yes, I did make an offer on Pinewood, and no, I'm not going to sell Zoetrope to do it because I want to connect them by satellite.
Imagine high-resolution cinema that is beautiful.
I'll blow it out.
It's pure energy.
I'm trying to develop the means by which I can make the films that I'm imagining in 5 years. You will put this,
In the electronic cinema department, Francis was always experimenting with way-out concepts.
And you push a button, you would.
I have a research department in my company. We do some interesting things.
And what I want to do, I think, is I want to walk around while I'm listening to the soundtrack, walk around all of these storyboards, sort of like this. Come in here as I'm hearing the movie, and let's say these all have numbers on them, and then be able to say 13, 14, 13, 15. More or less editing the movie with this spatial representation, walking all the way around. People can take this unit, which is a disk storage, which holds all of those images in an electronic sense, and arrange it so that you're able to call up those images that are on the board right into the tape. It's so you can push a button at any time and say, show me the movie as it is now. Right now it's just drawings, but maybe in another 2 weeks, we'll do a scene in front of a blue backing.
Years later, pre-visualization, as Francis called it, would become a common process in filmmaking.
Ultimately, as we sophisticate the principles that are in this, you'll be able to synthesize a movie in prototype form.
The mood of the studio was exuberant. Rehearsals and pre-production had been going on at this point for many months. But the studio's finances were precarious. Even if the cast and crew didn't know it, at least not yet. Shooting was scheduled to start in February, but some crucial German bankers had backed out at the last minute. Once again, Francis had to raise cash in a hurry. He took out a series of personal loans, putting up his home in the Napa Valley as collateral.
I'm going to keep going ahead. As they say, when the extension cords are struck too long, then the power will be shut off. But I'm not going to stop at this point. Why should I? I got it all worked out. The actors are ready to do it. Thank you.
We began principal photography on the 2nd of February. anyone in this business with any kind of experience has got to evaluate that as being at least reckless, because we didn't have the funding to last 1 week.
If you want to start, my feeling is just start and follow your heart. And it's not that I'm a risk taker, it's just that once we're making the film, we don't want to stop. And we sort of, maybe in a naive way, think that, oh, it'll all work out.
We had the confidence that the determination of the people was a crescendo that we could not dissipate because of lack of money.
That's what you got to give. This is it. It's the big night. All your dreams will come true.
Good evening again, everyone. A melodrama is currently playing itself out in Hollywood that, for sheer emotionalism, rivals anything put on film. The embattled figure in this drama is director Francis Coppola, who once again finds himself waging a war to keep his dream financially afloat. 2 years ago, Coppola took over a run-down lot and turned it into a viable company that boasted the kind of employee loyalty that hasn't been seen in Hollywood since the heyday of the studio system.
I think the staff, the people in the art department and other places were more or less requested to work on half salary.
I felt that we should explain to everybody involved, the Zoetrope Direct people, the Hollywood General people, as well as the production people, that we weren't going to make the payroll, and it was Thursday.
You can possibly manage 50% of your salary for a 2-week period, maybe a 3-week period, or maybe a 1-week period. It's worth hanging on.
Well, they responded in an incredibly supportive way. In fact, for a minute, I almost thought I was being put on because they were saying kind of corny, non-jaded things that you don't expect to be said in this town.
All non-union workers on Francis Ford Coppola's financially troubled $23 million epic One from the Heart agreed in a meeting tonight to take a 50% pay cut to give the movie a chance at completion.
Thanks for your cooperation, and thanks very much for supporting what we're trying to do. All right.
Then everybody said, no, we don't want to leave, let's go, and they all applauded.
Yes.
And then one of the assistants came up and said, all right, come on, let's go, time is money. And I said, no, time is just time now.
Francis was literally in tears when I told him about it, and it was a very, very touching experience. There's almost a bulldog tenacity about the whole studio in Francis, and the tougher the spot we got, the more determined we became.
A Canadian oil and real estate tycoon named Jack Singer invested $1 million with an option to invest more.
Jack Singer proved to be a guy that, when we did some investigation, was worth a lot of money.
I've had fighters, I've had newspapers, I've had horses, set world's records.
Didn't bat an eyelash when we mentioned $8 million.
I could lose 300,000 or $1 million that day and not say a word.
If you want to invest in this film, you get yourself in your Rolls Royce and come up here. So he did come up here with his entourage of people.
And I like rich people.
We are very, optimistic that Monday morning when you come to work, we'll have a check for you for last week.
We dodged the bullet. But the war wasn't over. Jack Singer invested several $1 million in the film, and that allowed the shooting of One from the Heart to continue for 5 more weeks.
I'm a big star now.
But the leveraged financing of the film put the studio itself at risk. Jack Singer, as a key backer, would be in a strong position to get control of the valuable real estate if One from the Heart failed. By law, in many states, all commercial films must be shown in a private screening to the theater owners many months before the film opens. These special blind bid screenings take place long before films are finished, and they can look pretty rough and incomplete.
Take one, marker.
Hello, I'm Francis Coppola, and we're about to show you a color dupe of the work in process on our next film at Zoetrope Studios, One from the Heart. In several cases where music and story come together, none of those effects are yet in the picture, and so the sequence is a little bit puzzling, to say the least.
Home again, Saturday moon never gets up before noon.
We know that you're used to looking at films in this condition, and we hope that you'll imagine what the final result will be like. Thank you very much.
These screenings are supposed to be strictly private, but there was so much media focused on Francis and the film that word leaked out, and some members of the press reported that One from the Heart was a disaster. Paramount was going to release the film, but now their executives were growing nervous as the media began their predictions of doom.
It's very hard to work when every day there's another crisis and I'm supposed to be directing a picture.
Francis was against the wall.
I do think it's a tradition to allow people to preview a picture without writing reviews, and I got so angry that it is now impossible that I said, let's preview it in New York in the Radio City Music Hall so there'll be enough seats.
Paramount may now pull out of the project. Theater owners say they don't know who will distribute the picture. The future of One from the Heart may now depend on what Friday's audience thinks of it, which, says Coppola, is the way it should be.
That January day in New York was so cold, Francis had split pea soup served to all the people lined up buying tickets for the preview.
One from the Heart. Mr. Coppola's new movie that everybody is talking about and has had so many problems, and we're very curious to see what it's all about.
We're going to see One from the Heart. We're from Chicago, and we were fortunate enough to get tickets.
I just came to see a film before it's been reviewed.
The soup is very good. We do anything for pea soup.
Here's a movie that cost a lot of dough that even before it was finished had this terrible reputation.
I'd like to see it before Paramount badly distributes it. And I think the public should have a say before a distributor makes a decision as to how a film would be distributed.
Better to just show it and take what, it deserves. I love that pea soup. That pea soup, boy, it's great. They haven't let the people in the house yet.
They have, yes.
Well, they have. What we're talking about, I suppose, is what the reaction of the audience was to the picture.
I feel so mixed about it. I think it's really good, but I know it won't be well received.
I thought the story was banal and very boring.
First time in, say, 10 years that I've seen the sort of thing that excited me about trying to bring theater and movies together.
How many people did you talk to?
About 14, 15.
And how many didn't like it?
About 13.
Who were all those people who liked it out there?
It was a lot like having dessert for about 8 courses. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But sometimes you wanted to die.
I thought it was a beautiful looking movie, but I thought that it lacked emotional impact.
The documentary.
Great. Well, we're going to the party.
If this film doesn't succeed, will the studio stay viable? Will it be alive?
No.
Everything rides on the success of this film?
Yes. I think it's partly taking risks like this to create some excitement. You may not have been excited, but maybe someone else was. I don't know, but it was something.
In my experience, the press, loves to build people up and then they love to take them down.
What is everybody after about you?
When you're trying to do something truly unusual and from your heart, and you're trying to reach everybody, you always run the risk of someone looking at it quickly and saying, well, I don't care for that. Just like a picture you might see or some food that you don't like the first time. And then after a while, the picture becomes more beautiful to you, or the food, like raw fish, which you hated the idea about, later on you enjoy and think, well, this is wonderful. This is sashimi, I
mean, once you get up there, then either you have to go way up to get positive attention, or you have to fall down and get the attention for that. So there really was a sense that the press was gunning for Francis.
Since I don't have any money really to speak of, I use what little I have to try to get to the point where we can have our own studio, where we can make films like the films we've made over the last 12 years, all of quality like this film is too, and I'll stand by this film over the time because I know what went into making it.
The deal between Paramount and Zoetrope Studios had disintegrated. Columbia, a new distributor, released the film in 41 theaters on February 11, 1982. But the film had been mortally wounded by all of the bad press and premature reviews. In the first few weeks, the $28 million film grossed only $804,000. Francis Coppola decided to pull the film out of distribution unilaterally.
At that point, we thought, well, if the future of the studio is linked to the success of One from the Heart and the movie's not going to do well, then maybe this whole place is going to collapse. I knew that things were bad when they started to take the equipment away.
Filmmaker Francis Ford Coppola, who has been associated with some of the motion picture industry's biggest winners, is in need of cash right now, so he has put his Zoetrope studio up for sale.
It's ludicrous not to pursue the highest possible thing you can imagine, the biggest possible thing you can imagine, the best possible thing you can imagine, even if you run the risk of losing it all. Ready? And one more shot. It's out of my hands, guys.
Wait, where you go?
If you don't pursue it, you've lost it anyway, so you can't lose.
The huge debts from One from the Heart needed to be repaid, and Francis Coppola went to work for the studios, turning out 7 films in 7 years. Francis says he spent his 40s working off the debts from One from the Heart.
The fact is, it didn't collapse. For all the problems that were present, the studio managed to endure in some form or another.
After Francis Coppola's Hollywood studio was sold and the assets were auctioned off, Francis moved Zoetrope back to its bohemian roots in San Francisco. Jack Singer did end up taking control of Hollywood General Studios, and his family continues to operate the facility today. In the 80s and 90s, music videos shared the stages with game shows. The technical innovations Francis first envisioned at the Hollywood General Zoetrope lot were gradually improved and perfected as Francis continued his earnest but scaled-down experiments in the electronic cinema.
You, at 13, 14, 15, are going to witness the communications revolution.
Today, the experiment continues.
We're on an adventure. Probably will be on an adventure, certainly I think I will be on all my life. And now the company and the studio takes on a different complexion, but it's the same idea, I think.
They're taking this plane away tomorrow. Makes you sad.
For the film, Coppola transformed the entire lot into a giant set that included a replica of part of Las Vegas McCarran Airport. During this time, Mel Brooks's Brooks Films also rented a stage on the lot to film Francis, starring Jessica Lange. Cost overruns on One from the Heart combined and its poor box office performance caused Francis to fall into financial difficulties, and the lot was sold again, this time to a Canadian real estate developer, the Singer family. Fast forward to 1984, the Jacksons used this lot to rehearse. Their Singers initiated a comprehensive modernization and refurbishing effort that sparked a revival of lots of fortunes and attractions and new generation of feature film, commercial, and filmmakers. The Singers also returned television production to the lot by adding control rooms and a bunch of other little multi-camera video production spots. The lot again was the home to some of the country's most popular shows, including Jeopardy, Seasons 2 through 10, Star Search, Soul Train, The Man Show, and Pee-wee's Playhouse. In May 2017, a Los Angeles-based real estate company, Hudson Pacific Properties, purchased the Hollywood Center Studios from the Singer family for a good amount of money, and then immediately renamed the property as Sunset Las Palmas Studios. June 2025, it was announced CBS soap opera The Bold and the Beautiful would move to Sunset Las Palmas Studios after its summer production hiatus. After 38 years of production at Television City, they are now part of the Sunset Las Palmas iconic television family. I was a kid from New York that was always wanted to be an actor, and when I fell in love with acting and I learned a lot of stuff about Hollywood, and you learn things as you're old. I made my first movie at 17, but when I moved out here, I had various office spaces in different areas, but it was last year. I'm a PGA member of the Producers Guild, and we were at a Christmas party, and they had the Christmas party here. And it was around the same time that Alex and I were looking for our home for Churchill Productions. So I'm a little emotional. I come back to my lot, and my lot, where I'm at now, just did something special for me. Look what they put up. They put my company name here, so. Kid from Brooklyn, chasing that dream. And never gave up, no matter what circumstances were thrown at you and situations were thrown at you. You just gotta listen to that voice inside of you and that desire inside your heart. And then you say, tomorrow, and you keep going and you keep after your goals. And I'm a true testament here, saying dreams do come true.